Yo, 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 what is good, y'all? It is Dr. Senpai here. And yeah, this is the gayest fucking intro you've ever heard. Ooh, yeah, got that dick in the mouth. Anywho, that was probably cringy as hell. Oh my god. I don't know what's wrong with me. But anywho, what's up, guys? It's Dr. Senpai here, and this is my review, obviously, for Kingsman: The Golden Circle, which I just saw a week late, which kind of pisses me off a little bit, but money doesn't grow on trees, I guess, so hey, it is what it is. And this movie was really good, I thought, but it kind of suffers from sequelitis, where, it's kind of typical that the sequels won't necessarily always follow, the first movie as better. And now, on a few times, I agree that, sequels could be better than the original movies. For example, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I thought that one was better than Guardians of the Galaxy 1. And, a few other things. But mainly, I'm going to get to the point of this movie. So, Kingsman: The Golden Circle. What's it kind of about? So, it's about this bitch named Poppy, who's like all about that 50s nostalgia, and she's like selling drugs and shit like across the world, like marijuana, crack, heroin, all that shit, really bad narcotics, like oh yeah, she said acid too, everything. And whoever is taking these drugs gets like this blue rash that kills them in the end, basically killing a bunch of people across the world, unless the president of the United States like signs a contract that legalizes all the drugs, I guess. So she runs this entire empire, and this affects the Kingsmen because she kind of blows up the Kingsmen, like every single base they have. It starts out with a cool ass car chasing fight scene, kind of, where we have Eggsy, the main character from the first movie. He's back again in full action. He's still pretty cool and everything, and he starts kicking that ass against some dude. I get that. I don't know. It's not. I'm not saying they didn't do a very good job explaining who the character was, but I kind of forgot who. There's this guy who shows up. I think his name's like Charles or something like that. Who shows up? Who was like this, apparently like a guy he didn't like in the first movie, who I completely forgot about because I haven't seen the first movie in a long time. But he shows up and they start fighting in a car. It's a pretty cool fight scene. And then later on, we see that the Kingsmen, all their locations get blown to smithereens by this Poppy chick, because I guess she doesn't want them messing with her business. So they go to America, where they meet the statesmen, who are like their cousins, pretty much. There's an American Kingsman, which I'm pretty sure they didn't state this at all during the movie, which I kind of wish they did. That there could be different Kingsman sister locations, or sister, what's the word, teams, or organizations. You know what the fuck I mean. But that's basically what the statesmen are, like a twin organization, like the Kingsmen are, but for America. So I'm pretty sure we can assume there's like one in like Mexico or India, something like that. But anywho, they have to team up with the statesmen to stop Poppy from fucking up the world with all these drugs and everything. And what was kind of surprising about this movie is, I probably won't spoil it for this movie, but there's a big twist of the in the final act. And the final act was absolutely, the final act was action packed as always. That's as much as I can say. This movie still keeps the great over the top action of the original Kingsman, which is amazing. And I actually kind of thought this movie was kind of funnier, but I don't know what it is. It's just they introduce other characters. Like, I know Channing Tatum's in this movie as like a statesman guy. He literally shows up and does action for one scene. Everything he does like one thing, and then he's pretty much out for the rest of the movie until the end. Not that he dies or anything. It's just he's out. You'll understand what I mean when you see the movie. But he literally did nothing. While we pretty much only saw one statesman agent do the action the entire time. He was the guy in the trailer, so it was like with the electric whip and the he was spinning his guns and everything. And that was only one guy, and that's pretty cool. And I thought it was pretty cool. The action scenes were superb. Apparently, this movie's getting a lot of flack for using too much CGI, which I didn't really notice that bad. It wasn't terrible. I don't have a keen eye for looking out for CGI. I was like, oh shit, I'm enjoying this movie because these movies aren't popcorn flicks. I would say these movies are pretty damn enjoyable, and obviously his mentor. Oh yeah, they said his name's Harry, but Harry, his movie came back from the first movie. You guys haven't seen the first movie. Spoiler alert for a damn near 2-year-old movie, but the Samuel L. Jackson character from the first movie, the villain, supposedly shot and killed the Harry mentor guy. He's not Harry, but his name's Harry. Anyway, Jesus Christ. He basically, it looked like he shot him right in the head and he died. But it turns out, he got shot in the eye and then he was brought back to life somehow. And you get to see that a little bit. So he's back now in this movie. And it's kind of obvious. I'm only saying some of this stuff because it was in the trailer. Like, they showed him coming back and everything. And, he's not evil at all. So you guys have to worry about it. It's like, oh, he has like an eye patch now. Is he evil? No, he's not evil. But yeah, he shows up again. And, that's kind of interesting. And, yeah, what else can I say? What's kind of cool is in this movie we do get to see, what the statesmen do. For example, the Kingsman is more of like a tailor, and they get their money in the main world as like a tailor shop. Meanwhile, in America, the statesman is like a big whiskey alcohol business. Like these motherfuckers are all about whiskey because it's America. Let's be honest here. So they do the whiskey market, and apparently they even state this in the movie that they have a much bigger stock than the Kingsman, which is kind of like, oh wow, that's really interesting. But yeah, the action is really good. Acting, like acting's all right, I guess. I mean, I didn't see outstanding roles. I found it was pretty much almost the same as the first movie. The plot was pretty good. It's just like I said, just a few inconsistencies. For example, I found Poppy's villain interesting, but not as funny or really charismatic as Samuel L. Jackson's villain in the first movie. She was kind of like, well, I'm just kind of crazy. Oh yeah. I'm just a little crazy because I run a giant cartel. Ooh, I'm gonna tell a really weird joke and do some weird sick shit later on, because I'm random. That's just kind of how her villain was, which wasn't as compelling, I'd say. And and like I said, oh wait, no, another thing is they added so many characters. Like they added like I think new Kingsman agents and everything. Like there's like a new guy who sits at the end who was like there was like a boss of the Kingsman in like the first movie who was killed. And then they brought in another guy who only had like a few lines of dialogue, and then he gets blown up. So we just kind of we get to see that those side we don't get to see a lot of agents basically. It's like, okay, and it's even worse on the statesman side. We don't get to see much of them really, except for one guy who really does most of the shit. And I don't know, it's just kind of interesting. And and a big question I had during the movie was, okay, so this Poppy chick destroyed the Kingsman so they wouldn't mess with her across the world. So why wouldn't she destroy the statesman as well, or like all of the Kingsman-esque organizations around the world? That's just all I'm saying. I'm sure there's like a screenwriting reason for that. Oh, we couldn't include this, we couldn't include that, but I don't know. It was just kind of annoying. That it's like, wait, hold on. So you're gonna destroy the Kingsmen and all of them, but not the other organizations around the world. I guess if you're that big of a cartel runner, I'm just saying. But otherwise, this movie was pretty good. Honestly, it's just just some moments where it's like, one thing, I guess another thing I could say is that with the first Kingsman, a lot of people were thrown off about that movie, which was great. People were like, oh, I thought this was just gonna be like a spy movie or something like that, kind of like the next James Bond. But no, the movie turned out to be really funny, over the top as hell, and just has a lot of like spy movie tropes that it's almost like it's self aware. And since most people have seen Kingsman 1, it's kind of like, okay, now we're kind of expecting what's happening, so it kind of ruins the charm, I guess. Whereas it's not as special anymore when we first saw it. So I'm going to give Kingsman: The Golden Circle a 7 out of 10, which is like, okay, it's okay. It's honestly, it's a good time to go see it out. Like, it's a really good time, especially if you've seen the first movie. You'll like this one. But I just, it does suffer from the sequelitis tropes too, where it's like, um, it's okay, I guess. Where it wasn't as good as the first one, but it's a pretty good movie either way, and it had a pretty good kick-ass finale. Really funny this time, really funny. Like there's actual, like, comedic jokes, I guess, in this one, and great action scenes. I know I keep repeating myself, but I guess that's just filler for time, I guess. So yeah, 7 out of 10, guys. Definitely go check it out if you've seen the movie. Otherwise, it's all right. Definitely not a masterpiece. But anywho, I'm gonna finally shut the fuck up and let you guys go.